Right.
So that's what,
So 400 people,
mhm.
figuring at least one, so maybe 200 kids out of the 800. And that was gonna be held, so when they canceled it, since that's part of this Title I outreach, what do we replace that with?
That's what we're gonna be
No,
doing.
what, last year, when they canceled the.
All that was
just a program.
We just had our individual building meetings in, where we came with each one individually and met with them and went over like the compact with the kids and all that stuff.
Okay,
We
so
weren't
we'll
able to
replace
do-
that with that one. So if
Right.
they do it, if the gym's not ready, how many people fit in the cafeteria?
Over 400.
Over 400? And then same with the, I mean, the, that center access area, that's,
Upstairs, the LGI rooms, it's about 400 people.
that's above the gym, I mean, yeah, okay. So you got 400 there, and you got 400 in the cafe.
And we were thinking even like they talk like, they have stuff where we could go down both hallways into the cafeteria. So the teachers were already looking for like, you know, setting up the different stations with the different books. They have the characters, they have the programs, they have all that ready to go.
And realistically, kids can read by first grade, right? First grade reading level is what we're looking at, I mean,
We're hoping they could read by 3rd grade.
say it again?
3rd grade.
The big initiative is to be 3 by 3.
Ready by 3.
So third grade, they should be able to read a third
Third
grade
grade
level.
level. Yes.
Okay. Second grade, they can get help if they're not quite at a second grade level, and
Well, this is that training that we're talking about. This will help us identify those students a little bit sooner. So we're hoping the earlier we can identify them,
but
the
the,
better we can get to.
but the Watch Jill Run book in first grade, that's still sight words and all that stuff's done in first grade, and they can.
Actually, that's going down to kindergarten.
Kindergarten, yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right, but I mean, so are you actually having children at third grade that still have not mastered this concept
Yes.
that they can read?
Yes, we
Wow.
do, yeah. In all districts, there was, Bethel was one, they just went through a whole big thing. They actually, I think they were like at one point, they were only at like about 20% for a third grade level at third grade.
Third grade.
And they really like invested with the letters and everything else at kindergarten. And when they came in, they started off like around 38%, and now they're up over close to 90%. So it's,
And where are we at, roughly?
well, I'll know better once we do all our
First
benchmarking.
benchmark, we're telling them.
Once we get through our first benchmarking, which will take us about a week till we get through all that.
Can you make a note to give that as a report in the board meeting of, hey, we have this many percentage of kids are
We could
third
do-
grade reading a third grade level?
We could do academic affairs. We could go over.
Yes,
Yeah,
I don't know, like, I don't think we'll have it all finished by the September board meeting, but we could do the.
Well, October, the idea is,
Yeah.
that's one of those
Yeah.
areas that you want to look at
Mhm.
from a publicized board area,
Oh, yeah.
so that everybody can kind of get some enthusiasm to say,
Mhm.
we want Lehighton to be smarter.
Right.
The biggest thing with the benchmarks is that you'll see is the growth from the first benchmark to the second benchmark is usually your biggest growth, and then from second to third, it kind of starts level.
Well, and what we also try to do too, what we take a look at is once we get that first benchmark, we compare it to their last benchmark back in May or June. And we want to see, was there any growth,
Or reversion.
stagnant or reversed. And then we also try to take a look to see, and that's where the teachers dig in individually to see that, okay, if some of these kids, were they at the title reading program, or were they at the summer reading program, things of that nature. So, I mean, that, again, last year I could only do targeted. This year, if we get school-wide, we can open that up to any child that wants to come for 2-3 weeks of reading camp, we can do that. So, that's all part of this here. When you look at ours, when they talked about attachments, we had to do one for each individual building. You had to have a separate, it says school parent involvement policy, but it's actually like a procedure. And each building had to be separate. East Penn had to be separate from Mahoney, Mahoney had to be separate from Shalveda, Shalveda had to be separate from Franklin and everything else. Now, once we get the approval, we can just make one parent involvement like procedure, which would be the attachment. And as you see from PSBA, behind that, there is the Title I Parent and Family Engagement. Again, that's what you're looking at there is like with the policy. And they always go through this even at the programs. That is not the policy that technically has to be board approved, like the policy 918. But we still do that, and they always recommend that so that parents are aware. You know, we put this on, it's on the website, we go through that. We will be sending letters home to all the students and parents that, you know, the Title I services, once we get through with all the benchmark and everything else, that these are services that are available to you. And the one thing that we really try to stress, it's not a stigma. You know, it's something there to help you. And I said, I think one thing that always kind of helps when I was, you know, in middle school and everything else was that, you know, people would say, oh, like, I said, listen, my own son went through Title I. At that point in time, they had with reading. They got the extra help. It went through there. There's nothing to be ashamed. It's something that you may not have done or this, that. You know, some people are, well, I said, no, that's, just get rid of that right away. It's a program that's here to help you because there may be something that they're missing. I said, and all of a sudden the light bulb goes on. And it helps them with that for the reading. It could be math. So.
Can you use the robocall, or it has to be specific to students?
No, this year we could do the robocall because now we're going school-wide, so I can do that.
And that doesn't mean too, with our robocall system, we could go through and click individual students as well, just to get those phone calls.
Well, it's not on here at all for notification.
No, well, that's, for the PSBA one?
Yeah, you have access to either using a robocall. I mean, I don't even see where it says you're gonna send out a letter. You mentioned you're sending out a letter.
Yeah, we say that.
Yeah,
You
there's.
said you did, but that's not in the PSBA's template.
Let me see here. About guidelines at these meetings, parents, families will be provided timely information. I think there's right before that.
This was obviously written for this was written as a template for the individual schools to then cater to their individual needs. So what we bought from PSBA was just a blank, you know, open slate. I think you should add in the letter that you said you do. If you're gonna do it, just write it down here and do it.
There's one, if you go at the bottom of that page where it says guidelines, to ensure the continuous engagement of parents and family members.
Guideline, this is on your Title I parent engagement policy?
No,
On the policy itself.
on the policy itself from the PSBA. It would actually be on the back of the second page.
900? For 900?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. If you go down there, it says about communicate with parents and family members about the plan, seek their input, and through newsletters, websites, emails, telephone, parent-teacher conferences, home visits if needed. You see that, the second one down?
Yep, okay. And then that, so you're gonna transfer that into this then?
No, that's gonna be, the policy's gonna be the policy, that's gonna be the attachment in accordance with the policy.
Yeah, that. So in other words, like where it says about bullets, this is stuff that we will then adapt. Once we get the approval from the state for school-wide, then this, the one you're looking at, Mr. Brownlee, with the red ink at the top,
Yep.
that's the one we will then adapt and modify to fit our needs.
For school-wide.
For school-wide, said about like provide assistance to parents and all that stuff, information, create the compacts we already have. So those are the things that tell the parents, like, this is what Title I will do to help. This is one that's telling you that we'll be getting all that information to you.
So when I look at the policy under guidelines, each district school operating Title I program shall hold an annual meeting. That's your Sousa-Palooza?
Yes, that's one of them, yes.
We also have a Title I parent night for in the fall, and we have one in the spring, we have two.
For individual parent teacher, okay. Yeah, because this is not written very specifically to what you're actually describing versus what it's saying.
Right.
So this really should say, each district school operating Title I program shall hold an annual meeting or invited with all the parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you write in all
Once.
Title I parents?
Once we get,
That's where that's why once we become school-wide,
That's this.
this is
Right.
meeting the requirement now that can be targeted or school-wide. This will be buildings, or will be district specific, excuse me. once we become school-wide, then we will enter all the information of exactly what we're doing into this attachment.
And you can, there one, I think, I just saw it somewhere, it said about with, host various parent and family nights at each building with the Title I program. So that's what we'll be doing at all at the new center.
In the middle school.
And what we used to do in the past, we would do one for all four, and then the second one, we would do the 4 individual ones. And it always seemed like the 4 individual ones, we had a better attendance because they were at their individual building instead of being at the whole building.
So where do you see this thing that talks about phone calls? You said it's under guidelines, under the actual policy?
It says communicate with parents, to plan and seek their input.
Hold on a second, so I'm on policy 900,
Policy underneath guidelines.
underneath guidelines.
It's on
The
the
first
back of
paragraph
this.
is each district, right?
Yep, go back to the back of the second page, and the first one there says establish meaningful ongoing two-way communications. And do you see that at the top?
Yep,
And then the next one, communicate with parents and family members about the plan and seek their input and participation through the use of newsletters, websites, emails, telephone, parent-teacher conferences, and home visits.
okay. And you're just gonna check off the ones you wanna use.
Mhm.
So we're checking off the first one? Or you're checking off all of them?
We'll probably use all of them. We'll use all, like the website, the email, the telephone.
I mean, yeah, I'm saying that these marks, these little
Those are just bullets.
bullets,
Yeah, that would be bullets. That's just all that's included.
but you're, okay, so you're including all of those bullets?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So all that, like when you look like analyze and share the results of Title I parent family surveys. Like in the past, we've always given that to our kids. So again, that will happen this year. It would be at the end of the year. Like last year we did it, we gave it to all our Title I students and parents that were at all 4 buildings. And then we review those, and then we go over that.
So on that one, can you write at the end of it, just add on the web, on the district website?
Share the results of the Title I parent family survey.
Yep. Analyze and share the results